Trackers, we're back, and we do have some storms going on now. So we're watching, again, three different areas, really. We have several areas, but we're watching three specific areas, and those are the areas that we're going to talk about. So we're going to do a little different here. You've got actually the full screen, the full width of our radar here, and that's actually what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to look briefly. I don't think we're going to spend much time up here, but we're going to take a look in Minneapolis. So we're going to take a look and watch those storms. We still have this storm down here across northern Iowa, and that one continues to hold its own. So we're going to take a real quick peek at that. But most importantly, we're going to jump back here to Denver, and the storm has now rolled over the Front Range. And just like we thought, would it do it, would it not? It looked like it was going to. It is. It's now beginning to take off. So we're going to take a look at that. So let's jump up to parts of Minneapolis here real quick. We're going to start with there. So here's our storms. We actually have two different storms, and what I want to draw your attention to is actually this line right here. So we've got this line that basically you can see kind of out ahead of these storms. That's actually outflow that's rushing out of these thunderstorms. So it's like a miniature cold front basically, except it's going the wrong direction. It's lifting from south to north. Okay, so we're watching this. These are what we call pulse thunderstorms. I mentioned it in our greeting here. So they have trouble getting inflow, so they're actually pushing air out of the bottom and it's pushing out, and then the warm air is actually coming in over the top of that. And so they really struggle to get inflow, but a lot of times when it's so hot like it was today in Minneapolis, we're talking temperatures 100, 101 degrees, which is very unusual. I'm sure there was some record highs today in Minneapolis. But these storms, they shoot up, boom, they just explode really, really fast when this cold front, this outflow boundary basically washes through there. And so what happens is the radar sees that explosive growth, but it doesn't actually generate a lot of hail because it can't maintain that. So if we actually take a look here, we're going to look at the loop here. So you can see this storm as it basically lifts from south to north. Watch the outflow come in, and then watch as these storms, watch them explode right here. Both of them just boom, they just explode. And there could definitely be some really high wind in these, okay? So as these kind of go up and down, a lot of times they lose their stuff and they just, boom, they just rush some air down to the ground. And so sometimes you can get winds 70, 80 miles per hour. Yes, Denver is already seeing some hail. Dimes to nickels and growing, actually. So we're going to jump over there here in just a second. So we're going to watch these. Again, these are both severe thunderstorm warned, but definitely not a lot of really significant hail. So let's jump back over here. And let's take a look at this storm in northern Iowa. Again, this is definitely one to watch. So this one continues to kind of hold its own here. And we're going to have to watch this closely because it is moving towards Mason City. So we're going to keep an eye on this storm right here just to see exactly what it's able to do. But it has been holding its own. We did get some quarter reports. It is still kind of pulsy, kind of like the Minneapolis storm. So we're going to have to watch this and see exactly what it's able to do. But worth watching for sure. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that storm there across parts of northern Iowa. So let's go ahead now and to the show here. And so we've got Denver here. Hopefully we don't kill this storm here, but let's take a look at it here. So we're going to kind of zoom in here just a little bit here. So we've got all of our roads. We're going to take it to live view right now. And so here we go. Here's our current view. So right now, if we're looking at it, so we're zoomed in here. We've got Sheridan right here, and I believe this is this 6? 285 right here. Okay, so we've got 285 running straight east and west. Here is 25 running kind of through the corner right here, and then we've got this is 85 basically kind of dive into the south right here. No green pants yet, but we're working on it, so we're going to see what we can do here. So the biggest of the hail, and it's not very big right now. So we've seen some people say there's some dimes and maybe even some nickels. That's not surprising, but it's right in here. So this is where we would kind of be watching for the potential for the largest hail. So coming straight down 285 right now. But the storm is kind of pulsing. It's got some work to do. It does have a severe thunderstorm warning. It's warned for quarter-size hail. So we're going to have to see what this storm is actually capable of doing. But if you've watched much of John's live coverage, you've kind of come to follow. We've got the reflectivity here, but then we've got the CC, the correlation coefficient. And notice all the reds in here. So we don't have any green basically up underneath this core of thunderstorm right here. So what that's doing is it's showing us that there's not a whole lot of big hail yet. Okay, so that's yet. So we're going to keep watching this. Let's take a look here real quick at the predominant type of precip. And it's mostly hail. So we're getting a lot of hail though that is falling. So this is your gray area right in here. And notice how it matches up with the pink areas back here. So we've got two splits. We've basically got the screen split right here. So you can kind of see the split. So right here, we've got showing all the hail, and then right here, we're showing the precip and the amount of type that's actually coming out of that storm. So this is what we're looking at right in here, okay? So we're watching this storm closely here. Now notice on the last frame here, our indicator sometimes that can be good or bad here in Colorado. We have to kind of watch those really closely. It's actually come down, so it's at a 0.63 right now, which is smaller than a penny. So it's pretty small right now. So we're going to have to see if this storm is actually going to be able to pulse up. Here's an overall look at it, and we've actually got a second storm now that's actually going up here on the south side, and this actually looks maybe even a little bit better. So we're going to keep watching both of these here. So lots of thunder, lots of lightning, and let's look at this at the grays in here. So let's kind of line those up here. It's a little far. This would kind of be the closest area right here. And yeah, you can see it right here. We've got the red right. Let's see, where'd my little triangle go here? All right, so I'm standing over it. So it's right here. You can see the little pocket of the grays right in here. So that's showing us where at least there's a predominant precip type of hail. So we're getting a decent amount of hail. Still the storm up here to the north, even though it looks a lot weaker, it has a lot less pink in it, it's still producing. Look at all the grays that it has up here. So it's still producing a high volume of hail. It's just really, really small hail right now. So we're going to keep watching it to see, because it is still making ice. And then this one down here is definitely producing more heavy rain, but it's also producing hail, and it might even be just a tad bigger. There we go. That was some quarter reports just came in, and that was from when it kind of accelerated up. Look at it. See right there? So the radar actually thought it was producing some really big hail. It thought it was producing ping pong ball size hail right back here. So let's go ahead and let's zoom in here where we got the quarter reports that just came in. Take a look at the area here that we have. So we've got Morrison right here, okay, and then we've got our storm, and it just kind of sags right here. This is 285 right here. Let me see what we got here. And then we've got State Highway 74 just to the north. So I'm assuming there's some sort of a creek or a river that basically runs right in through here. You know, those of you in Denver probably know a little bit better than I do, but kind of see how it kind of straggles back here. And then right in here, this is where we have our strong storm, severe storm actually. And let's go ahead and take a look at the CC values at it at this location. And if you notice, let's see here if they can line up here any. There we go, right there. So it's kind of reflecting just a little bit off the back end, but right in here, and then maybe just a little bit further to the west when it was one frame back. Okay, so we're looking at, this is going to be County Road 44, Garrison Street, right in here. Okay, so this is going to be the area where we saw the quarter size hail that actually just came in. And if you notice here, as we kind of shoot this forward, there come the couple of reports coming in here. So, and again, so why in the different location? Have you guys ever wondered that? So look, so we've got the reports up here to the north. I would assume that the largest hail actually occurred right down here, about a mile south of where these reports came in. And the reason for that is actually because, so these reports, if we look at them here, let's hover over this one and get the details here, see if I can get my mouse to stay on here. Doesn't want to stay there. There we go. All right. So it says it's 2 miles south of Lakewood. Okay, but we don't have a specific address. We just know 2 miles south of Lakewood, and that's kind of the general area where they put that report. So it's not an exact location, and in that case, it's not an exact science. So that's why that showed up there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our storm here again. We'll zoom out. So it looks like maybe trying to recycle. It's doing a lot of work. But not producing a lot of big hail right now as it stands. Again, we did have some quarter-sized hail. If we back it up here 2 frames, right down in here to the south, it was producing some good hail kind of in this area right in here, and then kind of held itself out and actually quit generating new hail. So we had it right in here where it was actually producing some larger hail from here, and then kind of wound back to the south, and then actually tried to lift back up to the north a little bit. So that's the basic area where you're going to see at least the higher potential for some damaging hail with this storm. At least quarter-size hail, so it's going to at least generate a new data loss. You PDR guys, I've seen quarter-size hail do plenty of damage, so this could be, as long as it's not some of the slush balls that we've had, in Colorado, that could potentially be an area to take a look at. So it's basically right here. So we're talking, this is 285 right here that runs east and west. And you've got I-25. So you're southwest of I-25 on 285. That's your general area where most of the hail actually fell, right on 285, maybe a little bit further to the south. And that's kind of the area that we'll be focused in on. So let's take a look here, and we'll keep kind of pushing this forward here. Again, this storm really trying to cycle maybe up here to the north, so we're going to kind of watch up here near, let's see, is this Barkley? Yeah, so near Barkley, and so we'll have to kind of watch that. That's headed towards Commerce City. It's going to keep heading up towards Welby, up in that area, so we'll have to keep watching that. It doesn't look too intense right now. Let's drop down here to the south. So our storm here over Centennial is really beginning to get some legs to it. It looks like it wants to try to develop here. So we're going to have to watch this one closely here. So again, we now have a larger hail marker showing up. Now these hail markers are going to get a little overdone. Let me show you why. So these storms produce such a high volume of hail that sometimes they don't have the ability to know exactly what's going on. So we're gonna kind of show this just a little bit more of this storm here for you. There we go. And so here's our storm right here. And so let's get our bearings here. So we've got Littleton right back over here, Denver to the north. Okay, so we've got our storm here. This is actually a 3D view of what that storm actually looks like here. Okay, so we've got, this is our core that we've seen that's kind of started to pop up here. So we're going to have to watch this area. And then we've got this right here. This is some new growth. And then this is some new growth right back down here to the south and west. But notice we're not like just crazy high up here, all right? So we're talking this storm setting at about 20,000 foot with our hail core, 20, 25, maybe 1,000 feet. But our freezing line up here in Colorado is a little lower because they're already pretty high up in the atmosphere anyway. So it's not like in the plains where you got to shoot up so high to actually get to that freezing line. Because the freezing line is so much closer, we can produce hail a lot quicker up here. And so we produce a higher volume of hail. And when we get that really, really high volume of hail, the radar sometimes likes to overdo that. So that's what we have to be careful for when we're up here taking a look at these storms. And this one actually not severe warned yet, but it's definitely worth watching here. So I don't know if the Reeds are watching. I know this is kind of in their backyard over there in Parker. So again, we're looking at it right now over Centennial here. We're going to kind of line this up here. It will not hail in Panama City today, Pate. How's it going, man? It's going to rain a lot down there. I'm sure you guys are enjoying the tropical storm. Let's see here. So we're going to jump up here and take a look. Maybe we should look at some of your weather today too, see what's going on down there. Okay, so we're going to switch here. We're going to kind of go over our core here. So again, you can see, so it's starting to kind of, it's windy. That's my line right there. I love it. So we can see kind of the greens in here. So it's trying to produce some hail here, but it still hasn't made it to the ground. So we're going to have to keep watching this here and see if it's going to make it to the ground. This is very interesting though, and it's definitely worth watching here. Look at all the roads up here. These are all neighborhoods up here. So as this storm moves from the east to the northeast, it'll be up in this area, and this area is, so we got Foxfield over here. If I'm right, I think we're real close. Aurora's up here to our north, so Aurora is right over in here, okay, and our storm is right down in here. And so this is kind of the area that we're going to be watching this storm as it moves into here. So just to the south of Aurora, but look, it's a real quick, sharp cutoff here. Now these roads are a little old, so I think you can actually come out into here, out to about the river out here, and that's where you have your population at. But still, this is the area that we've got to work with here as this storm basically moves off, and there's a lot of population for this thing to affect. So we're going to keep looking up here to the north. So we're just looking at, there's a lot of storms here. Castle Pines, we got a storm trying to go up here. We really need these to kind of break up and isolate up just a little bit for us. That would definitely help. But again, we're going to watch this storm up here by Centennial. It does have a little bit of an inflow notch right here that we'll have to kind of keep an eye on to see if that actually helps enhance it. Well, even our storm up here to the north has got little inflow notches. There we go. There's our warning on here. So we now have a severe thunderstorm warning for Centennial, Lone Tree, Castle Pines, Sedalia, Foxfield, Parker. All you guys are all on a severe thunderstorm warning. Our marker did come down as that warning came out, though. So we'll see what this one's for here. So again, just what I would have expected. Quarter size hail is possible. Right now we haven't had any reports yet, so this is all radar indicated, but we're going to keep an eye on this here. Wouldn't be shocked, especially on this up here to the north. Let's see here. Yeah, definitely wouldn't be shocked to see some quarters starting to fall here, right here right over Centennial, really, right here on the back side of this here. This little core right here, we definitely have, this is the area to watch, okay? So this is moving off to the east-northeast. It doesn't look like it's going to sustain itself very well, though. Let's take a look at it here in the 3D model again. We've got the new radar frame update. So here's a look at our core. Here's our storm right up in here. So again, this is part of the reason why the actual hail itself has not really started falling. Let's see if we can angle it down here so you can see it a little better. Look at that. See, most of the hail is right up here in the cloud itself, but it's broke off right here at the bottom. So we're going to wait for all this to actually come crashing down to the ground. But more than likely, this is a lot of penny, dime, some nickel size hail, and then there's some quarters mixed in with this as well. So again, is this damaging hail? It's possible. It's not 100%, but it is a high volume of hail, and it's always worth looking at when you see that type of hail. All right, let's see here. So we're hanging on here. So we're back up again here with a 1.66 inch marker. So this storm is not dying. Hopefully this thing's going to keep going. And this is kind of interesting right here. I don't know if you can see this, kind of where this little notch kind of comes in here. So we're going to have to watch that to see if this thing maybe has some inflow coming into it that's actually helping to enhance the lift. I'm going to jump off of here real quick. We're going to take a look at some of the other storms here. It looks like this storm, this is the Iowa stuff that we were looking at earlier. Looks like pretty much outflow dominant. You can see how this little storm started going up here on Mason City. We'll have to see if that can actually drop some quarter size hail if it goes up fast enough on Mason City, Iowa. But again, the predominant forcing is actually off of outflow, so cold air. So I don't think that we're going to see a whole lot more with that. Let's go up here and take a look at Minneapolis and see. Look at there, just like we talked about. So these storms have now weakened. But they never really got the chance, even though the radar said there's some big hail in these storms, they never really got the chance to get going. So we got some 0.75 inch hail. I wouldn't be completely shocked if a quarter report came in, but you're not going to see any golf ball. You're not going to see any 2 inch hail out of these storms in northern Minneapolis like the radar was saying. So we're gonna kind of jump off of those, and let's go back out here and see what we've got going on. Remember I was talking earlier about those storms in southwest Kansas. All of those now severe, producing mainly golf ball size, quarter to golf ball size hail right now, so nothing too significant. Not a lot of population in this area, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time focusing on this area. Jump down here. Nothing going up yet near Amarillo, so we're going to kind of stay off of those as well. We did have a couple of storms that were pretty nasty here in the Colorado Springs area, but for the most part, it definitely didn't get crazy. They stayed in a very rural area, so everyone else gets hail except in Arizona, and that would be true. It's very hot in Arizona, so it's not a very good climate for hail. Everybody remembers the 2010 storm. That might be a 100-year storm, so I don't know if we'll get to see one in our lifetime. I hope so, but I wouldn't hold my breath. So let's go back in here. Let's take a look here at everything that we've got going on in Denver. So we've kind of broken this up here into 2 different cores. This one's much weaker now. It came out and produced the quarter size hail on the west side of town. That's what made us go live, but then it kind of weakened out here, and it's really, I mean, this is kind of a big long line, which is not exactly the most conducive for producing large hail, but we still have, right up in here, we've got a nice little pink core here, so you're probably getting some nice dime to penny size hail right up in there. High volumes, lots of P's, but we're still watching this storm down here by Centennial. This is definitely still the strongest storm here, and those are the ones that we're definitely going to watch. So we're going to zoom in down here to the south side, and well, we don't need a 3D view right now. We just looked at that. So let's take a look at what we got. So here we are, Castlewood, Centennial. You're getting a lot of hail here, okay? So you're getting a ton of hail right here in Castlewood and Centennial. It's been hailing for a while now. And so we're going to see kind of what sizes come in. But if you notice here, on our CC, our correlation coefficient. We're not seeing a lot of those greens yet. Now, some of this might be up in the cloud. Again, we saw that kind of that ball in the 3D view. We'll go back and take a look at that here in just a second to see if any of that's changed. But for the most part, again, a lot of really small hail has fallen. If we switch it over here to our product that tells us what the predominant precipitation type is here, notice the grays right in here. All of that gray kind of lines up right in here. So that is showing us that, again, there's a lot of hail falling. And for the most part, what we're seeing is the storm's moving very, very slow. So let's back this up and let's see how long that storm. So it kind of blew up right on top of them, and we started getting some hail right here. Okay, so this is right here on Castlewood, right here. This is where we started to see the hail actually form. If we look at our time up here, our time says that we started at 22:32. Okay, so 22:32 was when this started, and it's still hailing in Castlewood right now, and we're at 22:46. So we're going on 14 minutes of having hail here in Castlewood. A little bit less up here to the north as the storm just eases off to the east and the northeast here. So a lot of hail's falling. Get the snow plows out. Get the snow plows out here in Centennial. There's going to be a lot of hail over here. But unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of small hail the way it looks. But I do think there is some quarter-size hail. We're going to switch everything over here to our CCs again so we can see if we can find us any pockets that kind of line up here. And again, this is kind of where it looks like right in this little dark purple area right in here. It kind of matches up really. This is where your best location for big hail would be right in here. Okay. Downtown Denver just got 3 minutes of pea-size hail. That sounds about right. So we'll go up here. Let's take a look at downtown Denver. We'll jump back over here to Centennial here as this storm just kind of pulses. Let's see here. Keep going north. We'll go back to the west here. So, gotta zoom out so I can see where I'm at. There we go. So here's downtown Denver. Let's take a look as the storm basically blasted through here. You can see it actually weakened as it kind of came across. So we had some of the bigger hail, or the most hail was actually just up here to the north, and then right down through Denver. As you can see here, if we go back a frame, it was actually a little bit stronger. So we had at least a couple of pixels of some pink in there, but nothing too crazy. And then as it basically moved across Denver, it actually weakened and kind of split up there. And now just getting some light rain in downtown Denver. We still have this little pocket of hail up here to the north, which is moving past DuPont. And so just kind of moving out of Denver for the most part here. It's going to move up towards Henderson as it kind of continues to push away. And then as we drop back down here to the south, we're going to see what our storm here in Centennial. So we did get a new fresh update here. So the hail still probably just a little bit coming down, but really beginning to end here in Castlewood. So we had almost probably about 15 minutes worth of hail in Castlewood here. So really, really high volumes of hail in Castlewood. And then that storm basically accelerated, or not accelerated, it's still sitting there. But now it's setting over Centennial. Been hailing in Centennial and to the north for quite a while now. Let's see if anything down here to the south is actually doing much, and not a whole lot here. The storms to the south of Colorado Springs have actually weakened. We've got this little cell right up here in no man's land here. This is a pretty potent storm up here, and all these little isolated storms, these will continue to intensify and actually go severe as we move through the evening here. Let's take a look and see if there's any refiring back here, and I don't see any right now in the front range, so we're going to have to watch and see if these storms indeed don't end up really getting going here. Then we'll have to figure out if maybe we can get some more storms to go here. So we're watching this storm right now just over Centennial or just to the north. The biggest hail here, if we go to our CC values right over in here, so it's right in this area right now. So that kind of lines up on our pink area here. That's going to line up right in here. So right now, again, you're probably seeing a couple of nickels, maybe a quarter, but you're definitely pushing your luck on the quarter size hail right now for Centennial. But this is still worth watching, and watching his tights. I like it. So still worth watching, and we're going to have to keep a close eye on these storms and kind of see if they can actually get to producing here. So let's go back out to our wide angle view here, take a look what's going on across the country. We're going to try to track this storm here at least until it gets out of Centennial. We've got the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, the one to the north here, Denver, I think this storm is weakened. It's no longer severe, maybe producing some penny-sized hail at the largest. I think this storm here to the south over Centennial, right at or just under severe limits right now, producing some dime to nickel-sized hail and a couple of quarters in there. And then we've got these guys out here in the plains that are beginning to go up. These are the ones that we're going to watch for at least some tornado potential this afternoon. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those. And we're going to have to keep an eye back here to the west, too. So as we come back here to the west, we'll see if anything can refire, because we still have that upper level disturbance out here. So I'm not for sure if this is going to be it right here. This is the show for Denver, or if we're going to get another wave that comes in later on this afternoon. Again, the big limiting factor, if you heard me earlier today, my concern, at least for keeping the hail size too large, was the fact that temperatures were pretty low. So temps only in the low to mid 60s. A few locations got a little bit more sunshine and made a run at 70, but the overall atmosphere showed that it was fairly limited with the amount of severe weather potential because of the cooler temperatures. But as you kind of came out here, we had a little bit more wind shear, which is going to help us. But I'm still not 100% sold even on this area. I mean, we just see a lot of 60s out here. And again, sometimes that can still produce some pretty good hail there. We just had a quarter report come in for Centennial, which makes, again, perfect sense. Again, a lot of nickel-size hail, isolated quarter-size hail coming in with that storm. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Let's see what else is going on here real briefly. Again, storms in the Texas Panhandle, the Oklahoma Panhandle severe. The only rural population center around here would be Guymon. So Guymon is right here. And so we're going to watch and see maybe if some of these can kind of maneuver their way up. But see how there's so many different storms out here? It's really going to limit. So these are going to be kind of pulsy. They're going to go up, produce some big hail, and then another storm may come in and run into it, and then that could kill it. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those, because they can produce large hail, but they're not always going to produce large hail. So we're going to have to keep an eye on everything that happens out here to see if anything can happen way out here to the west. Here's something interesting here, trying to go up here. So we've got some storms trying to go up here just to the south. Here's Omaha, Nebraska. Pate, if you're still watching, I think this is your stomping grounds right there. So we're going to have to watch some of these storms right up here as these kind of move off to the north and the west. They're basically forming around this big low that is actually developed. Let's see here. There's our storm in Mason City that we were watching. Some tree damage there, some 63-mile-per-hour winds. But again, mainly outflow dominant. They've got the warning issued all the way up here to the north. Let's see here. Minneapolis stuff is, again, pulsy. Let's go ahead and take a look at that storm from Minneapolis here. So we did just get on this one here a golf ball report here. It's a little interesting. All right, so let's look at this here. So we did, right here we have a golf ball size hail report that's actually come in. This is north of Minneapolis, okay? So this is East Bethel right here. This is Cedar right here. And this is, let's see, Ham Lake, Andover right here. So that's the general area. Here's Leno Lakes right down here to the south. So this is the golf ball report right here. My question is, the storm actually hasn't made it there yet. So it's kind of interesting. We did have a little cell that tried to go up right there. Oh, let me shift it back forward here. We had the outflow. You can see the line come through. It rushes through. And then right there, so let's line everything up here. So we did have, you can see this little cell right here tries to go up. It pulses up real quick. Let's look at it on 3D here. So we're going to analyze this thing live here and just kind of give you guys a feel for what we do here. So here's our 3D view of our storm here. We're going to kind of spin around there, right here. So right back here, this is our gust front that comes rushing through right here. And then here's our storm that's going up behind it. And then we had this little surge right here. So it's right here is the actual storm that we're looking at. So, and you can see not a whole lot of craziness here. It's pretty short. Most of the precip is actually below the freezing line. That's this yellow line right here. This is where we're freezing at. And notice how a lot of the pinks are actually below that. So that's going to be real heavy rain. And so, you know, could this have produced a golf ball? I mean, it's possible. You know, I wouldn't get too excited about it. It's definitely not high volume, and we're going to take a look at that. So you can see we do have right over here, back up here a little bit, right in here where this report came in, we do have some lower greens in here. But again, nothing too crazy. This is not in Denver. This is actually north of Minneapolis. Just south of the town of Bethel in Minnesota. And so we have this little cell that tried to go up here. Let's take a look at the predominant precip type. I got a hunch it's going to tell us, yeah. So you can see here, not a whole lot of grays in here, right? It's just a lot of reds and greens and yellows. And so that's going to tell us that it's producing a lot of rain and not a lot of hail. So there are a couple of, oh, I bet you did drive through some crazy stuff in haze. Anyway, so not a lot of hail in this one. We're going to switch here. Let's take a look at our KDP values on here. Again, you see right here, this is where it's kind of picking up on something here. The algorithm, it doesn't see it at all. Again, because there's not a whole lot of stuff up there in the freezing line for this thing to work with. But it probably did produce a little speck. I mean, I'm talking a little one. So if we were to zoom in here, you know, kind of the area. So I think the report is probably pretty close here on the location. Maybe just a little bit further right in this area would be the best location. Let's turn the radar off and see kind of what's in there. See if this will load in here for us. I don't know what our satellite view, but there is some stuff in here. So I'm going to say right over here, just to the right on this highway here, which is State Highway 65 running south, just south of Atonka here, and then just to the east. So kind of this little pocket right in here. That would be the area. But I mean, we're talking not even a full square mile that probably saw that hail. So very, very isolated. Nothing major to write home about. I mean, possibly over to here and down into here. So, I mean, we're talking, you know, I mean, we can kind of see the road grid here. So we're probably talking, I guess that might be a square mile right there. So we're talking from here back to here. So maybe 2 to 3 square miles total affected by that. So nothing too significant. Again, really just kind of more of an accident, really, with some stuff kind of sticking together probably as it fell. But not a lot of big hail with that storm. So we're going to kick the radar back on here. We're going to jump back out to our wide angle, see what else we got going. We're going to watch these storms here south of Omaha, but I don't think anything else. Projections for Denver, well, you know, we had the storm move through. They produced a couple of pockets of quarter-size hail, but nothing really significant. There are some high volumes of hail, especially on the west side of Denver, and then especially on the south side near in Ham Lake, East Bethel, Minnesota, off Highway 65, maybe Marble Size. That sounds much closer to what it looked like on radar. So maybe it was a windshield crack. Marble hitting a windshield sounds pretty loud sometimes. So, but that definitely sounds more like what I would expect from that. So let's take a look at these here live on the high-res radar one last time here in Colorado. So the hail finally moves out of Denver, out of Centennial here. I don't see anything that looks severe as we talk right now. So again, everything pretty much has weakened now in Denver, and so we're not seeing a whole lot of just crazy activity. So I think we're going to go ahead and throw it off here. Let's make one last view of the city here. So again, we talked about some quarters in Centennial. It looks like even maybe a little bit west of Centennial. That's basically the area that we were talking about. And then over towards Jefferson, again, a couple other pockets of quarter-size hail that actually occurred with some of those stronger storms. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning is good to expire. Definitely not seeing anything with that one. We'll keep an eye on Greeley with some of these storms, but again, with the whole line nature of these storms, it's not exactly the most favorable. And as it stands right now, I mean, we do have a little shower way out here to the west, so we'll see if these can refire and actually move back into Denver again. But again, temperatures are fairly cool, so it's going to be pretty tough, I think. So, but we'll keep an eye on this stuff. If it looks like anything else is actually going to jump up on us, then we'll make sure to go back live again and track these through with you. So I hope you guys had fun watching the storms as they move through Denver. We definitely had fun tracking them with you. Unfortunately, nothing too significant, but we are going to get, I would say, maybe a 2-star map out of this in Denver. At least a data loss, and then maybe if some of these quarters are hard enough, maybe we can get some dings on some cars as well. So hopefully something out there for those of you in Denver. And again, we'll keep tracking all these storms. There's a lot of them ongoing right now. We're going to let you know. And if anything looks good, we'll definitely chime back in and track those with you. So again, hope you guys are having a great Memorial Day, and we'll be back if anything shows up.